Greetings, brave adventurers. It's me, Foxy, and I'm here with the last video of the year, the last video of this week, of one video every day, and this one is the worst. Not just of the week, but of the year. The worst person in any video I've ever made, the worst story that I've ever told. So my delivery and my narration style is going to be a little different than usual. I'm going to save all of my comments until the very end. I will not be interrupting the story, and I'm not going to censor the swears in this one. I usually do, but not this time. This guy, he deserves it. So grab yourself a hearty mug of your favorite beverage, because we're going in. The story is posted by the user Goblobber, and it is entitled, Player Accidentally Triggers DM with Offensive Language. Continues intentionally triggering DM to see what will happen. Trigger warning, offensive language, obviously. And that is very true. I am going to be censoring it in my speech, but if you are sensitive about matters of disability or of being neurodivergent, this may be one to skip. I'm sorry. Still with me? No turning back now. Tale start. So this happened to me a long time ago now, but it's still one of those things I think back to now and again, and I figure it's time to get this one off my chest. Buckle up, cause shit is about to get real upsetting real fast. So me and my regular group are hanging around post-game and discussing the antics of one of the player characters. I can't remember the exact details, but shenanigans were involved, and the character ended up doing something dumb, and the party had barely escaped with their lives. Everyone was relaxed, and it was a cheerful atmosphere until one player, henceforth known as Asshat, pipes up.
God, your character is such a silly person.
We're going to use silly person in place of the slur. The table went deathly quiet, and everyone turned to look at me. I was obviously shocked and a little upset, but after a moment, I just said, "Do me a favor, and don't say that word in front of me again."
What? Silly person?
Asks Asshat. Another player at the table actually flinched at that point. "Yes, that," I tell him.
Why can't I say silly person?
He asks with a big stupid grin on his face, still treating this whole thing as a joke. So I take a breath and explain. Firstly, it's offensive. It's a slang term that comes from spastic, which is an outdated term for someone with cerebral palsy. It's discriminatory, and I won't allow it at my table. Secondly, he interrupts to complain about how I'm being too politically correct or whatever until I can continue to explain. Secondly, my brother was born with cerebral palsy. He passed away from complications resulting from it when he was 4.
How was I supposed to know that? That's not my fault. You can't be mad at me if I didn't know.
I'm not mad at you. You didn't know. I don't like talking about it. But I'm telling you now, calmly, because if you're gonna play with us regularly and hang out with us, I don't want you using that kind of language again. Because if you do, I will end up getting upset, and it'll probably spoil my evening. Fair?
Yeah, fair, fine, got it.
He actually paused for a moment before he got this shit-eating little grin and said,
"You're not gonna silly person out on me, are you?"
See, I should have kicked him from the group right there and then. I was absolutely livid. But I was very lonely back then. I didn't have very many friends, and I was still deluding myself into believing he was one of them, and I didn't want to lose him. Besides, we were playing at someone else's house, and I didn't want to cause a scene. So we just adjourned the game for the night, and I tried to forget the whole thing happened. I did get a half-hearted apology from him afterwards. I think another player coaxed him into it, so I just assumed that was the end of it, and we could just move on with our campaign. Unfortunately, I was wrong. See, every now and then, for the rest of the time I knew him, he'd casually drop it into conversations when I was around. Sometimes it was subtle enough that I wasn't sure he'd actually said it. Other times it was more blatant. He got warning after warning from me and everyone else at the table, but he just kept doing it. He never did it when we were alone together. He was always on his best behavior. It was only when we were in company. I genuinely think he found how upset it made me funny. Then he started asking really inappropriate questions, like, can I say ridiculous? Is ridiculous alright? Or asking me what kind of state my brother was in before he died. He asked me 3 times how my brother had died. I'd told him the first time. It sounds insane looking back at it, but at the time I just couldn't understand why my friend would keep doing that, or how he could be so forgetful or thoughtless. I just refused to believe he could be doing it on purpose. He did stop eventually, though. We'd got into a rules dispute, and he was being really damn stubborn and refusing to accept my ruling as the DM. Things got heated, and voices were raised, and eventually, I had enough and just said, "That's not how the rules work, and even if they did, I wouldn't allow it. That's my final decision as DM. Can we just move on with the game, please?" He glared at me and went, "You're such a massive, silly person." I didn't flip the table, but I did stand up fast enough to bang my knee off it and knock my chair over. I was absolutely furious, probably the angriest I'd been in a long time, and I just about managed to say, "Leave the fucking table." Kind of killed the atmosphere after that, as well as the campaign. But he left, and to his credit, he never did say it in front of me again. Unfortunately for me, I'm way more forgiving than I should be, and after a couple of weeks, he got invited back to our games, and we continued playing together for a few more years. I can honestly say, in all the time I've played TTRPGs, I've never had a player that I've hated more than Asshat, and it's actually shameful that I let him stay as long as I did. Obviously, we don't talk anymore, but I still find myself getting angry about it every now and again. Sorry if this one was a bit long. I've just been bottling it for a long time and wanted to get it off my chest. Also, sorry if the language has upset anyone. Peace. TLDR. Had a real scumbag of a player who took pleasure in emotionally torturing me over my disabled brother who had passed away. Edit. I think this has confused or upset readers from elsewhere who use the term themselves, so I just want to clarify that I'm from the UK. Over here, it really is a very offensive thing to call someone. Tail end. I'm calm. I'm calm. I'm calm. Fuck this guy. I like to think of myself as someone who does not experience hatred very easily. But this has made me hate again, so... Asshat, your name is very accurate, and I really hope that you never, ever play TTRPGs ever again. Because if this is how you are going to choose to behave with people who are supposedly your friends, get the fuck out of my hobby and go to hell. Oh, what an appropriate way to end what has been an absolutely terrible year on. 2021, you can go to hell too. Alright, 2022, come on, hit me. How much worse can you be? That's a stupid question. Don't ask that! Okay, well, do all the YouTube stuff. I don't have it in me to be excited and energetic. Like, subscribe, comment, there's a Discord channel, and yeah. One of the brightest parts in this year was seeing my channel grow like this, and all of your support and encouragement, and, well, for some of you, your money. Yeah, it's Patreon time. I think if I had to point to any one thing from this year that has been good, that I have enjoyed, it's seeing so many of you come out of the woodwork to support me and what I'm doing. I'm sorry that this video was a little rough. We'll be back to form next week. But for right now, I think there's only one thing left to say. Drain that drink you poured, and let's get back to our own adventures.